Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, the Horror Anthology Podcast, where this season we're taking a look at George A. Romero's 1980s series, Tales from the Darkside. Sharing the Midnight View with me are the projection booth's Mike White.
I weigh 1,000,000 pounds.
And the Culture Cast, Chris Stashew.
I loathe Zuni fetishes.
We'll get there. Tonight we are taking a look at the final two episodes of season 4, the final two episodes of Tales from the Darkside. Those are Barter and Basher Malone. Barter, season 4, episode 19, originally aired on July the 17th, 1988, written by Julie Selbo, directed by Christopher T. Welch, starring Jack Carter, Jill Jerez, and Michael Santiago. This is somehow a mashup of the previous two episodes, Going Native and Hush. It's a real-world I Love Lucy that is visited by a door-to-door salesman who loves Monia. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
I actually had a really good time with this one. Obviously, fan of I Love Lucy, also a fan of Todd Haynes's Daughter Gets Spanked. I could have easily gone the other way and been like, boy, Jack Carter, he sure was annoying. But I had a good time with his weirdo English that he was doing where I could really understand. It was almost like a pig Latin that he was speaking with the way that he was talking about good and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I kind of liked it. I liked the parody of I Love Lucy, and yeah, of course, the kid drumming was pretty annoying, but I really empathized with the Lucy character on here. And yeah, I think that the end was a little weak, but otherwise, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. How about you, Chris?
I thought it was interesting to have a I Love Lucy parody, a left field choice. I guess I wonder why is my kind of takeaway. It seems like such an oddly specific thing to pick and choose and do this. So in terms of trying to nail the tone of the show that they're parodying, I think they nailed that. It is just an alien shows up on I Love Lucy. Okay. All right. I guess I don't need any more explanation than that, and none is given. So it's interesting. I will say that much. What about you, Father Malone?
I didn't like it overall because I don't like their comedy episodes when they're not in the hands of comedians. And for some reason, they've decided they're going to close out their entire series with a pair of comedy episodes. I did notice, though, that this episode does manage to accomplish in about 22 minutes what the entire mini-series of Storm of the Century by Stephen King was positing, because it's the exact same story, right? Like, this stranger shows up, acts weird, then demands their child, and they have to give him to him, and then off he goes. It's like the same plot. The ending is what I actually liked about it. I liked that he took that kid and fucked off. I just wish they had been happier at the end, because they seem bereft. It's a really weird tonal shift at the end. Like, you're not supposed to know, or at least I didn't know how to feel, because like, they're so sick of the kid, but I don't know. I don't know what their intention was here at the end, but it seemed plenty Tales from the Dark Side, and ordinarily they'll lean into the bitterness of it, and here they were leaning into the grief of it, which was an odd choice.
I think I agree with you as well. And it just goes back to this whole idea of comedy, I think, is much harder to do than most things in writing in terms of screenwriting, especially because, again, comedy is so subjective from person to person. And if you make somebody laugh, congratulations. It is not easy. And the comedy in this is, again, just very specific but broad at the same time. And I don't know if I've ever laughed at any of these comedy episodes that this show has done, because I'm just like, this is not a comedy style that really resonates with me. And I don't know who it's supposed to resonate with, because it's just, I wouldn't say it's broadly unfunny. It just seems misdirected in where it's trying to be funny, if that makes sense. Like, it's mining the wrong gags is what it feels like.
Yeah, it's doing this parody of I Love Lucy, and that is a sitcom, so they are hitting all of those same beats, and I don't understand the point of that ultimately. Are they trying to point out how hackneyed that the show used to be, or are they trying to mine it for the same laughs? I don't know. I was confused.
I
But
don't
I like you.
understand.
But Mike, I want to agree with you about Jack Carter's performance, because I don't not like the episode based on that. I think he is doing a good job, because he isn't like a stand-up comedian or anything. This is just a regular working character actor. So he's really giving his all there and pulling it off. I think that's really hard to do, actually. Even like just basic English double speak is really hard to do.
Yeah. And I like what he was doing with normally the steam coming from the ears gag is pretty rote, but when it happened the first time, I was just like, oh, okay, that was good. I like that. When it happened the second time, I was like, okay, please don't do that again. But yeah, I thought that he did a good job. And yeah, like you were saying, what you that whole don't open the box, it felt very similar to that, except yeah, it was like Ricky Ricardo was he was more of the prick than anybody else in this episode, just with this whole like, oh, little Ricky's got to practice his drums. And I loved how much stuff she got done without little Ricky, like when she put him on pause. Yeah, the whole thing of the machine disappearing, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, you guys are really fucked. If you keep messing around with this stuff, you're never going to get your son back. And I see, I was waiting for there to be a twist, whether it be a good twist or a bad twist at the end, where 3 years to this guy is actually like a lifetime, or 3 years to this guy is a minute and a half. Because obviously, if he's from outer space, if he goes out into space and comes back, 3 years for him might have passed in 300 years here on Earth. It's been a while since I've seen Interstellar, but that's what I seem to remember from the old Einstein concept of time. So I was hoping for something just a little extra, like a little kick in the ribs towards the end there. Either, like I said, a happy twist or just a real fuck you, don't mess with any of this stuff. Like you really shouldn't be bartering with this gentleman.
It is a cautionary tale.
Yeah, as most of them are.
Yeah, by the end of it, I guess I was under the assumption they wouldn't be that disappointed that their son was gone because they were annoyed by him, but they do seem a little bit more put out by it than I assumed they would be.
They're bereft, man. She's like clinging to Ricky there.
I know, and I thought she'd be happy because it's like when little Ricky's out of the way, she gets so much done and she's able to like figure out more of these household hints. That was an odd thread going through there, but this whole contest, and if we win we get to be on television. I was like, that is such a Lucy trope, the whole like her just quest for fame and wants to be on television in the worst way.
I think I Love Lucy is worthy of parody. And particularly, this is what, like 88 at this point. This is the boomer generation. They grew up on this goddamn show and they need to take it apart. But I don't think I'm just repeat. This is an echo chamber now. It isn't vicious enough, and it's not or not funny enough or sentimental enough. It's just there. I didn't hate it, but I didn't feel one way or another. And I think the episode wanted me to feel something at the end there.
They picked I Love Lucy intentionally, and I don't understand why. Is like, you don't get me to the point of understanding why you chose I Love Lucy, which to your point is like, you should have done something a little bit more subversive or a little bit more pointed, and you don't. It's just like the most obvious things to parody. I'm surprised we didn't get Ethel and Fred showing up. We get mention of them with Bethel, which is wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ruthie.
Yeah. I love Ruthie.
And her husband, Nikki, and little Nikki.
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky. Yeah.
That
talks like this. Yeah. I mean, they already did a really good, just in a 3-minute music video, like the Ricky video by Weird Al is freaking fantastic. And that was the first time where you got to see Weird Al without the long curly hair, where he puts on the wig for that Ricky character. And he looks great in that video.
That was
a shocker.
Yeah.
That was a long time before this.
Oh, yeah. Then, I don't remember when Dottie Gets Spanked came out, but yeah, I agree with you. This was the time where that was 1993. Yeah, so weird. And what year was this one? This was not
88.
Quite. Okay, so 88. So right in the middle between those two. Yeah,
I
agree. I was just going to say, I agree with you as far as this is, I guess, a good time to parody Lucy, but it does feel like a strange marriage of these. And I am almost curious to go back to the original short story to see how much of the Lucy Ricky stuff is in there.
Probably nothing at all. Probably just a brief mention. Sometimes she felt like Lucy Ricardo. I know what to do.
And for me, honestly, were they not just able to get Ray Walston? Is that what it is? They were just like, Ray Walston, will you come be in our episode?
It's my favorite Martian. Yeah.
It is. It's like I Love Lucy meets My Favorite Martian, but they don't. It's almost like they don't belabor the point enough. That's what it is. Like you should. I don't know. There should have been maybe more of a framing device or something. I don't know. It does fall a little flat. But what a weird thing. I Love Lucy.
It's straddling this weird line of being the sitcom and being a real world version of the sitcom, and it can't figure out which one it wants to be.
So it's neither.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, oh my God, here we are at the end. Season 4, episode 20, My Cousin Basher Malone, written by Peter O'Keefe, directed by Anthony Santacroce. This was originally aired on July the 24th, 1988. Perfect time for a horror anthology series. Middle of summer. Starring Vic Tayback, Marie Den, Brink Stevens, and Marlene Casamento. Are you ready for the match of a lifetime? This is not it. It's Basher Malone versus Trog, a demon from hell. What do you think of this one, Chris? You're a wrestling expert. What did you think of this fucking fantastic display of
Yeah,
you can't even keep a straight face. Yeah.
He's starting to trail off there at the end. Stephen Capello, the California Terminator, who tagged with the future and I guess at the time now former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. Stephen Capello would go on to paint the governor's mansion and paint a portrait of Jesse Ventura for his time in the governorship of Minnesota. I am a wrestling fan. Yes, this is not what what in God's name is this? This is wrestling? Question mark. This is something, again, similarly to the last episode, like high concept, strange, all over the place, doesn't necessarily succeed completely, but it's weird. It's weird enough to have my attention. I don't think it gets all the way to a 23-minute episode without like meandering for a minute because it is so high concept, but I think it's fine. I will say, to your point, if this is the way you're ending your show, not a good way to end your show. Almost, one might say one of the worst ways to end your show. Not the worst way, because I think comparative to maybe some of the other final episodes we've seen of things, it's not as bad as some of the other ones, but not a great way to end a show that started out really strong.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, what a weird thing. This is going to be a strange complaint. The music that just keeps repeating over and over again.
It's not a strange complaint when it's that bad.
And at one point it becomes love theme from Basher. It's so strange. I was so happy when I saw Vic Tayback in this. Love Vic Tayback. I kept wondering, does he always have to have a cigar in his mouth? I guess he didn't when he was on Columbo trying to sell some shifty art. But yeah, this whole all-American boy who brings his mother to the games and eats milk and cookies and stuff. It's good for a few seconds, but then once they get to the big devil type match and stuff, and I'm just like, is Vic Tayback the devil or is he just a horrible person? I think he's just horrible. And then apparently because of how horrible you are, the guy who he's fighting gains weight. He becomes like Bane. So
the sins, he weighs the sins.
Yeah. And that Vic Tayback has a like the trident on his hat, and it's what's it say on his shirt? It actually says like devil something on his shirt. I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, what a weird way to end your show, and just a strange episode because at one point it just becomes like what a five-hander of all these people in an empty gym with that cool laser effect that they're doing. That was pretty expensive.
Oh,
what'd you think of this one, FM?
Pepsi say relax.
Woo!
Yeah, they broke out that laser machine. I will say that the one time the use of the laser machine was really cool was when Brink Stevens melts down and they have it playing on her as if it's electricity, as if she's short circuiting. I thought that was such a great effect. And if they didn't use the laser at all for the rest of it, then it would have been better overall. Do we really need 3 matches? Does it need to be 3 falls? Are you kidding me?
It's an Iron Man match, baby. You don't
we go to commercial and we come back and we're still fucking fighting.
Yeah. Had they put both of these into one episode, it probably would have been way better. Just cut both of these down by half. But no, we're committed to the half-hour bit.
I
Well,
will
I
say there's
mean,
a nice circularity to the after the pilot, the first official episode of Tales from the Dark Side was Vic Tayback not remembering, or his child, that who is this kid? So it's good that he was in the first and now he's here back in the last. And that's nice. And it's always good to see him. But is this just some fucking real world version of, or some like, it's Hulk Hogan, right? I mean,
it's Hulk Hogan and it's Captain Lou Albano. And then the guy who's dressed up like Trog is Vader. He's literally wearing Vader's outfit with the red singlet and the mask. And then
but in
Vic
1980,
Tayback's
in
dressed
1988, I don't think Vader was that big a deal. I don't, wasn't he a 90s guy?
Darth
I
Vader
mean,
was very big since 1977. Thank you very much.
Sort of Jesus.
Sorry.
We're talking about the wrestler known as Big Van Vader, sir, not
Oh,
Darth Vader.
sorry. Pardon my.
People are real confused all of a
He
sudden.
has more than one name. I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Van Vader was wrestling from like the mid 80s on, but yeah, he was height of his time was in the 90s in the WWE. But it is Lou Albano, clearly, because the way Vic Tayback is dressed up at the beginning of the episode, he's wearing those like bright, colorful shirts, just like Albano did. And then yeah, Stephen Capello is just Hulk Hogan, clearly. Like that's very awesome.
He's basically saying, "Eat, take your vitamins and say your prayers." Like
Right.
there's a variation on that. Like that we're supposed to
Yeah.
believe that this is what Hulk Hogan would really be like. No, actually, as it turns out, sorry.
Hulk
Racist
Hogan
piece of
actually
shit.
sucked
Yeah.
the devil's dick. He didn't fight the devil. Shockingly, I know.
Yeah, you would have been like, "Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's got some good ideas if you really stop and listen to him."
I'm gonna throw the match for Satan. I ordinarily wouldn't do that, brother, but he's gonna.
1, 2,
Too much
3.
pork.
Oh, God! What an ironic episode to have to watch after the passing of Hulk Hogan too. It takes on new meaning after the passing of one Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea.
Are they still doing that Chris Hemsworth movie? Remember they were like he was
No,
in
thank
constant
God.
training for it and showing his
Jesus.
pythons and shit. I'm like, oh.
Oh, it's 26-inch pythons. Yeah.
They're still doing a Vince McMahon movie too. We could really have this
Oh.
run the circuit of shithead people in the wrestling world.
We all
That
just
is-
want a Macho Man movie. Let's face it.
That's
Mhm.
true. Yeah, which
Oh,
also
yeah.
Basically,
The
they have
cream of
Miss
the
they have a
crop.
Miss Elizabeth here with Spring Stevens' character.
Yeah, it was nice seeing her. It's always nice seeing her, but yeah, very nice seeing her in this episode.
There
It
are
was-
weird kind of facsimiles for people in the real world of wrestling at the time, and if you were alive at the time, it's very obvious. It's inescapable at the time.
And I just don't know it amounted to anything other than too many
No.
matches, and I really hated our lead, and I kind of wanted them to all get stuffed into that fucking refrigerator of laserdom.
Hmm. Yeah, the final thing when Tayback gets sent through the portal with the wrestler, and who, because they're touching now, suddenly he becomes the biggest weight in the world. How they just like break apart and go their own ways. I'm like, yeah, that was really bad.
Maximilian.
Oh, yes, yes,
Well, and
very,
what's weird is
very,
they-
very black. Sorry, dark hole. Yep, you're right.
They came out of that black hole. I don't understand what the problem is with them going back into it.
Yeah. Same.
He just walked out of it before.
All right. Yeah.
Now there's
to
a problem. Like,
some walkout music.
yeah,
which
I
was
know.
just the same theme as they played
know.
through the entire fucking thing.
Who's got a bass guitar? Could you just play that over? and
Yeah.
over?
Which of these is Trog's
Mhm.
entrance music? Please play it for me.
Let's get the music cues from Tales from the Dark Side season 4.
I will hunt them down. I know they exist somewhere. Donald Rubenstein will not return my calls. No, he's been very nice. He's just very hesitant to talk. It's unusual. And really, I just want to talk to his brother anyway. So
There you go.
all right. Until next time, the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we're going to be looking at, it's not a series anymore. We're going to be looking at the movie Tales from the Dark Side, the movie from 1990. Until then, where are you working on? People find it, Chris Statue, looking.
Whoa. Yeah, you can find all the things that I do over at weirdingwaymedia.com, including this show and the Culture Cast and Shabby Detective and Kolchak tapes, which is done. There's a lot of stuff. Everything can be found over at weirdingwaymedia.com, other than my Patreon, which has Rankin on Bond, which Father Malone, you were on at one point talking about Live and Let Die.
Twice.
And then
I've been on
yeah, and that was
twice.
what to say. And then you came back. I know from when we talked about
You
License to Kill.
only star twice. Oh, sorry.
Or so they say. And yeah, you can find that on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/culturecast, or Mike's Patreon at patreon.com/projection booth. But more importantly, given that this is your show, patreon.com/Father Malone, as where you can go to financially support you, which you're working pretty damn hard to make this show. So I would suggest anyone who's listening to this, if you're not already doing it, go and do that. So what about you, Mike White?
Pretty much the same thing. I will just say go on over to readingwaymedia.com and check out all the fun stuff. How about you, FM?
As Chris said, patreon.com/Father Malone. You get episodes early and commercial free. In fact, you're going to get a whole lot of new bonus content because we finally got my nose to the fucking grindstone. So we've got a comic book horror film adaptation fest currently going on. Star Trek Fest is going on. We just finished up our Yautja Fest with a day of release of fucking Predator Badlands. Anyway, go check out all that stuff there. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight.